thinking about the subject of the harvest. Of course, the difficulty is to be brief because in a sense the whole Bible is about seed time and harvest. In a sense, the message of the faith from beginning to end is really a matter of seed time and harvest. We remember that the Lord created the world with a purpose, and we now see a world that is in chaos. Obviously, he has not yet reached that point where we see the purpose. Well, he has in his mind, but we see things in a serial way, whereas God sees the whole thing, and he has the whole picture. I'm going to read a few verses and then say a few more things, trying not to be long. In Isaiah 53, verse 11, speaking of Jesus, it says, "He shall see the labor of his soul and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant shall justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities." Then let's turn over to John chapter 12. John chapter 12, verse, I guess I didn't write down the verse, but I'll find it. In verse 24 of chapter 12, Jesus said, "Most assuredly I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain." He goes on to say, "He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. If anyone serves me, let him follow me. And where I am, there my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, him my Father will honor." When Jesus came into the world, he came to fully participate in this process of sowing and reaping. We read somewhere that he that sows in tears shall reap in joy. He who goes out weeping with precious seed to sow will return with joy, bring the harvest. And so Jesus entered fully into that reality to give his life as a ransom for us. He spoke about the harvest. Did you not say there are yet 4 months and then the harvest will come? Lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. So we live in a world where there is the reality of seed time and harvest. It's an ongoing process ever since the beginning of creation. Jesus is our supreme example. He reached across the barriers. We read that he had to go through Samaria on his trip to Jerusalem, I believe it was. And he didn't take the familiar, culturally convenient way. He went out of his way to meet a woman at the well and to share the message and to make her a valuable part of the harvest. When on one occasion, on another occasion, he was going through Samaria and they would not welcome him. And his disciples, a couple of them said, "Let us just call down fire from heaven and consume them." And Jesus turned and said, "You don't know, you're really confused in spirit, because the Son of Man did not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them." So he showed us that instead of reacting with hostility and fighting a war against those who oppose us for one reason or other, cultural reasons, whatever reasons. This morning we heard a little bit about race and how there should not be, that should never be an issue, but unfortunately it has been. And today, unfortunately, it still is. It is in our politics, it's everywhere. The society oozes it. But Jesus is our supreme example. He did not return hostility to the Samaritans. He had compassion, desire to see them saved. And he expressed that eloquently, rebuking his disciples. You're confused about what this is all about. I'm paraphrasing. And then he set the supreme example by giving his life. He calls us to be followers in his footsteps. I was reading about the Thessalonian church, how they didn't preach just by speaking words. Paul said, "When I came to you, I did not come just with words, but in power, because you know what kind of people we were among you. And you became followers of us. And now you are setting a great example. We don't even need to say anything, because your testimony has spread abroad." So to reap the harvest is not just a matter of what we say. It's who we are. And then Jesus said, "By your love, all men will know that you are my disciples." We can be an attractive community, and thereby we can participate fully in the harvest. It requires a laying down of our lives, really, to follow Jesus and to participate fully in the harvest.